Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Money and Mindset at 40 Plus, where we invite you to play big and conquer those money fears and money stories so that you can live an abundant life that you deserve. I'm Sylvia.
I'm Jenny.
I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, my favorite topic, food.
It is one of our favorite topics, and what a great way to launch into December, isn't it? When we're all, are we talking about celebrations? I mean, we are, even though in a pandemic year, celebrations look different this year, right? And I had someone posting, "What are you talking about hosting a dinner?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm hosting a dinner, but it's all in my mind. It's like my dream dinner."
And we're inviting all of you that are listening to our dinner. And so I'm trying to think of the impetus for this this show, Sylvia. Why did we start with this?
Why did we start with this? I think it started with Brene Brown's podcast at one point, and she was talking about a dinner and who she would like to have at her dinner table. And then I was like, hey, that would be a great show, because we often, our dinners are with people that we know. And this just allows us to dream a little bit. Like, who would you want to talk to and listen to and just bask in their amazingness?
Yeah. And then we had this great discussion about, well, what are the criteria? Are we talking about a social dinner party? Because both Sylvia and I feel very strongly that people would have to have interesting stories to tell. And the worst thing would be if we had smart people who weren't social and how would we place them around the table? I mean, I'm a fundraiser at heart. I want everyone to have a good time. I want people to connect. And then we got into this expression about fillers. You have to have fillers at the table and then we just gave up. It was supposed to be 10, and I hear, Sylvia, you're running a banquet. Isn't that true?
Yeah, I'm now organizing a banquet, so it's no longer a dinner. I said each of these people deserve to be their own host of their table, and I think lots of people would enjoy that. And I could go from one table to the next. If you don't know, I was like the queen of party planning for a good many years in my past lives as a director of a chamber of commerce for young people between 18 and 40, as well as McGill University. I have organized dinners for prime ministers of Canada, premiers of Quebec. I organized a dinner once for Christopher Plummer, the actor from The Sound of Music. William Shatner, I organized a dinner for him. And it's a skill, it's an art and a challenge to put the right people together. And we would spend hours, I would write the little names and we would play around, my boss and I, and like, who are we putting together? And no, we can't put those two together. They won't get along. Like, I have to, so it's an art. It really is an art.
And the idea of the art of gathering, which is Priya Parker's book that's been, if you've been listening to podcasts, this idea of intentionally coming together to solve, celebrate, or whatever. And one of her things that she talks about is the old habits of the old traditions of baby shower, wedding, divorce party, new house homecoming event. Those are fine, but they're kind of passive. She's really challenging us to think of new ways of coming together and celebrating in certain intentional ways. And what I love about that is the history part. I mean, I love ideas, Sylvia, you know that. I love great conversation. And Thomas Jefferson used to host these. They were called Jeffersonian dinners. And he would bring diverse groups of people together to his table to discuss the world. And that, in a tiny little way, is one of the things I hope for this podcast, that together in this community, we bring diverse ideas and conversations together to have a bigger understanding of the world that we live in. And so that idea of bringing 10 people to a table that may or may not relate is a fantastic metaphor. So who would be at your table, Sylvia?
Well, I was coming back to the intention. There are some people on my list who are just like, oh my God, like the first ones, I have to have this person and I have to have this person. But then if I want this person, what about this? And then we brainstormed. I think I had 20 people on my list, and then to cut them out. Like, I think we both said, we're both listening to Brene Brown's podcast. Shout out to
Mhm.
Brene. But we're
Mhm.
like, well, she'd have to be there.
Yeah,
And then we're like, but she's a given. So she really doesn't take up a seat. And then I was like, she could be our keynote speaker, someone, and
yeah.
then we'd have her
Actually,
sitting
Sylvia,
around the table.
yeah, we had her as the server because we didn't want her to count as a seat was actually what we had. So
Let's not tell her that.
let's not tell her
One
that.
of my first person, and I pay homage to her today with my hair, if you can guess who it is, one of my all-time favorite people. And
Uh-huh.
I don't know if it's even a guilty pleasure to say that, because I know a lot of people,
Yeah.
I grew up with my mom just looking at her and going, oh, that woman. But
Mhm.
Dolly Parton is on my list,
Woo!
everybody. Woo! Jolene, Jolene, Jolene. She's an amazing woman. If you
Yes, she
look,
is.
but the exterior, go in the inside. If you
Mhm.
listen to her books and read her books and listen to her music, get her life story, girl, she's comes from poverty, extreme
Yeah.
poverty. Her dad doesn't read. Large
Mhm.
family where women in the South of United States just, I just
Yeah.
get goosebumps. I would love to have her at my table.
And I love that she considers herself the two parts, a singer, but also a businesswoman. And she
She's
talks a
an
lot. She's a
Yeah.
kick-ass businesswoman.
And a
Yeah.
philanthropist. Her
Yes.
her book, she has a whole
Yeah.
foundation that gives books to children around, like in homage and testimony to her dad, right, who could not read, and
Yeah.
gives books and I love it.
Yeah. Great example of how philanthropy is so incredibly personal for my fundraisers that are listening on
Yeah.
this call. So this conversation prompted, I'm going to read a note I got from one of our listeners, and I love the way she's qualified all the people that she wanted. And she says, "This morning, you made me think about who should be at my table. By the time I
Mm.
decided, I could not find the post on Facebook anymore," which makes me laugh because isn't that our lives, guys, right? But if it, in a small way, we've made you think about who you would want in your circle of influence, that's a win. So here's what she says, this listener. "I chose Dolly Parton, Sylvia,
She
because
did.
and she says, because really, who would not pick Dolly?
Exactly.
This one I like. The EA of Melinda Gates, because she might have some
Oh.
great intel on time management. The Astro Twins, because I need to hear that the universe is going to be nice to us in 2021. Sheryl Sandberg, because I want to know if she still believes in leaning in."
Oh, that's a good one. Yes. Does she?
I
Oh,
don't
maybe there's
know.
another book coming out. Say, don't lean in anymore. Lean out.
Lean
Sit
out,
down.
yeah.
Sit down.
She also mentions Selma Hayek, because I believe
Mm.
she played a role in the reconstruction of Notre Dame, and this person is from France, and her daughter, which I think was really lovely because I want her to know that she needs to be at that table. Isn't that
Ah,
beautiful?
beautiful, beautiful. If you're listening, who's on your list?
Yeah.
Share some names. Share some names. Who's on your list, Jenny?
Number one, I have a crush, Malcolm Gladwell.
Malcolm.
Those of you who don't know him, Revisionist History, I love his podcast. I love the way he makes me think differently about things. I love his eloquence. I love the research he does. I love that he picks these sort of obscure things and brings things to light.
Yeah, the
I
book
would
The
also,
Outliers, right? It was one of his
oh
first
yeah,
books. Yeah, he's got a lot.
yeah.
He's got wacky hair to go with him, his personality. I think
Well,
he's just yeah.
there's an irreverence there that I love about Malcolm Gladwell that I think I identify with. I also like Krista Freeland. You've heard me talk about her before. This idea of how incredibly eloquent she is, and I would love to know what she was like socially. So that was kind of a secret thing.
Mm.
I'll throw one more out. Gail Asper, a
Oh,
well-known Western philanthropist.
okay.
And I heard her speak at a conference. I loved her ideas, and I'd love to know more about her. And I'd love a social setting to talk to her about her passions. I know theater is one of them, and so I guess there's a theme here about big personalities at my table, Sylvia.
Well, I think all my list are big personalities, hence not having them all together at a table, because I think if we, they would be here for 24 hours for all of them to have the limelight. I'm going to continue my singing songwriter because
Okay.
I love music, everybody, and I
Okay.
love folk music, and I love women. Most of my playlists are women. Two singer-songwriters that I love, and I just my husband keeps saying, "Are you playing her again?" And I even bought one of her live streams just a couple of weeks ago, is LP. If you don't know LP, she's
Yeah.
amazing. She's got the Bob Dylan hair. I just love her. Lost
So
on you, oh, lost on you. Anyway,
Is it L.P.
LP. I think her real name is Laura Pergolesi or something. I should
Okay,
know that if I'm a
LP.
big number fan, but I,
Yeah,
LP. And then the
LP.
second
Okay.
one, who I think they know each other, would be Belinda Carlisle. Oh my, Brandy Carlisle, excuse me.
Oh yeah.
But Brandy Carlisle, and I love Brandy Carlisle, and I saw her here in Montreal. She opened up for Ray LaMontagne many years ago, and just the depth of their music and like no fluff, like totally different. And I know Brandy and Dolly sang a song at one point. I'm like, hey, this all makes sense. You know, when we're party planning, who would we put next to each other? So those are my music people. And then if I move out of the music, and then I'll let you go, but
Yeah.
um, I had Simon Sinek, because we need some men at the
Mhm.
table too. Simon Sinek, start with your why. Oh, isn't he lovely? I just can listen to him on LinkedIn all the time. I know.
Yeah. If you're listening to me, I'm sort of fanning my neck, getting a little heated talking about Simon Sinek.
I just love him. He's like the
I
guy
love him
next
too.
door and just so down to earth. And he's got a new podcast as well, A Little Bit of
Yeah,
Optimism, it's called, and it's all about becoming great leaders.
yeah,
And
yeah,
I think everybody, whether you own a business and fundraising, you work,
yeah,
you have careers, it's all about being kind
yeah.
and just, yeah.
So if you're listening, are these names familiar to you or unfamiliar to you? One fun thing about this was like being introduced to some of Sylvia's who I didn't know about, and I'm sure there's people that I don't know about that you'd love to tell me about. So put them in the comments if you would. I'm going to go a different direction. So I don't have
Mm.
any singers, and funnily enough, I don't have any classical musicians on there,
And
which
I
I
was
found
thinking, isn't that
strange.
funny? Like we're
Yeah,
both former classical
yeah,
musicians. I didn't put any opera singers on, but I'm not in that anymore.
yeah.
I don't
But I
follow
do.
anymore.
But I do have, like, artists, so Margaret Atwood definitely would be on my
Yes,
list.
she was on
I
mine.
just Yeah, I'm very interested in what she would have to say, and I put the spirit of Ruth Bader Ginsburg in as well.
Oh.
This woman who I read her, biography, and, oh my gosh, it's, like, 3 inches deep,
Yeah.
which is not my typical habit, but it is so well crafted. I invite anyone for Christmas holidays to pick up the Ruth Bader Ginsburg book, the biography. And then I'm going to keep going. Then I went like completely different. What influenced me growing up? Who were the people that I found that I enjoyed on television? And so, for those of you that are my age, you might remember Cynthia Dale from Street Legal. You might remember Kim Cattrall from Sex and the City.
Kim Cattrall. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Yes.
They'd be
Yeah.
great at a party, and I'd love to hear their story. And the last other person I put on, women-wise, is Robin Brejnehan, who is
Mhm.
CBC Ottawa in the morning. So I feel like she's part of my life. I start almost every day with CBC Ottawa, and she always asks, again, there's a theme here, Cynthia or Sylvia, of really pointed journalistic questions and interviews that I really
Mm.
respect. I think she'd
Mhm.
be fun too. I think she'd be a lot of fun.
Well, you get some wine and a couple glasses of wine, people let it all out, right? I mean, we were talking about, and here I think I had a lot of musicians on mine, and I said, "Oh, what about Leonard Cohen?" And then it got us thinking, "Oh, would he bring the party just down?" But I think he liked parties, though. He's not around anymore. But I was like, "Well, maybe we could get him to sing." But I was like,
Yeah,
"That again, it would just slow everything down." So I was
yeah,
like, but it was just like, why are we putting these people on our
yeah,
lists?
yeah.
I had, I mean, two big names, of course. Oprah, I did
Yeah,
put her on my list. She is someone,
yeah,
and I was
yeah,
thinking, who are the women that I follow online, who I pay attention to? And I always have, since I've been a teenager, paid attention to her. Also, hard upbringing, the
mm,
journey upwards, the success, being a
mhm.
woman, everything. And all of these people, you're going to have haters and lovers,
Yep,
right?
yep,
And that's
yep,
okay. And
yep.
I had Michelle Obama.
Huh.
I just, yeah, there's another, big powerhouse
Yeah,
woman. Yeah.
and if we had Michelle Obama, we'd have to have my younger daughter because she's a huge Michelle Obama fan, interestingly enough. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's great.
another interesting fact, Oprah is the same, Myers-Briggs tag as I am,
Oh,
ENFJ, and I always first of all, I found that an incredible compliment to me that I was even anywhere near, Oprah's profile, but that's that combination of extrovert, learner, And it's the educator, it's the teacher profile, very much so. And I've always looked, we never had cable at home, so I didn't get to watch a
Okay.
lot of Oprah.
Ah.
But I did get a chance to, see her in other places, and her podcast I really enjoy. So she'd definitely be on my list.
Yeah,
Let's
and her
add,
book club, lots of
yeah,
great books
yeah.
on there. I get my book ideas
Yeah.
from hers. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Before we move, we got some comments here we're going to get to, but I wanted to add two more men, which are kind of fun. So Matthew McConaughey, for those of you, besides being an incredible heartthrob, he's a really interesting actor. He's done some really interesting things. I'd love to have him at the table to discuss his intentional transitions into different roles, because I think that might relate really nicely to as women, our intentional transitions into different leadership roles and how he thought about it. And let's be honest, I mean, can we ask him to wear a short sleeve shirt? Is that okay? Like something that in a nice wide collar, just so we can check out this. Are we allowed to say this on radio?
Yes, it's our show. We can say it. Well, I have two men. I was thinking, who are the men? And I always like, who am I watching? Whose videos am I watching?
Yeah.
And my all-time favorite actor is Hugh Jackman.
Yeah.
Like he's the triple threat. He dances, he sings, and he is just, and what's the other one? He dances, sings, and what's the one when you're a triple threat? Acts. There you go. And he's lovely. He's lovely. And his wife is 15 years older than him.
Wow.
Isn't that amazing? Wow. He's adopted 2 children. I think and I just love his talent. And he's a lot of fun in interviews. So again, comes back to that funness of.
So this is kind of a teaser for what we're going to be announcing at the end of the show, isn't it, Sylvia? There's a big announcement coming, and at the end of the show, this idea of these big personalities and these people we love to have around our table. Yeah. So stick around.
Well, Rick, we've got Rick here, a friend of mine. Rick is my neighbor. He's my neighbor. Hello to both of you. What a great idea. His list, without thinking too much. Barack Obama, there you go, with Michelle, with Bruce Springsteen. Oh, yeah, singer-songwriter. Yes. He's looking really mighty fine on his latest album cover, too. He's 70 years old now. Gosh, Jon Stewart, wouldn't he be fun? Yes, oh, which I didn't put Trevor, which brings me to Trevor Noah. I would have Trevor on. Rachel Maddow. Do you know who that is?
No, gotta find out.
I will look into these. Van Jones, and he continues. Sarah Silverman. Yes, she would make the evening spicy. Dave
I like
Stephen Colbert. I think, Rick, we're going into the nighttime hosts. They could each host their table, right? With another, they'd keep everybody on Margot Price. And Jacinda Ardern was on my list. She's the New Zealand president.
Oh, that's right. We didn't know her name, but we called her the New Zealand president. That's right.
She is amazing. And we talk a lot about on this show about women taking their place, owning their voice. And in the new year, we're going to come to a show and talk about masculinity versus femininity.
Yes, we are.
And how women playing for, decades now in a man's world, how that manifests itself, and can we bring in that feminine? I think Jacinda does it a lot. And there's a great article on LinkedIn I saw this morning about that.
Yeah. And I would pick up on that, just saying energy, masculine and feminine energy, and that it's not defined by what's the word, anatomical stuff. It's more about the energy we bring. And I can't wait to have that conversation. And some more suggestions here. What else?
Colleen, who do we have? Thanks, Rick, by the way, joining in. Who does she have? Rick Hansen. Oh, lovely man. Yes. I have met him in person too. Jody Wilson-Raybould. Yes. Oh,
very interesting
stories there. Wouldn't there be? Maybe not at the same table as Christian Freeland. Brett Wilson. Oh, Paul Anka.
Yeah.
My song, I grew up with Paul Anka in the house, and it was, "You're having my baby. What a lovely way to say how much you love me." Well, that's my song from when I was little. Meryl Streep, she was on one of our lists. You can see that our lists are longer than 10 people, can't you? Donny Osmond, Colleen. Donny Osmond. Agree with Dolly, Oprah, and Michelle, yeah. And Princess Di. Wouldn't that be great to guess?
Yeah.
Someone else wrote in on the Facebook post the Queen. They would like to have the Queen. Yeah. I
We've been
love
talking
that list, Colleen.
with the crown and all the transitions about the royal family. It'd be really nice to connect with Princess Di. I won't do any spoiler alerts. I won't talk about the Netflix
No, the
show, but
show, don't,
there's a
no.
lot of compassion there for people put into positions and roles that they don't fit. And so that kind of fits in nicely to our leadership discussion about different styles of leadership, Sylvia, and with the structure of the royal family, how it wasn't a good fit and how it was inflexible. I do think the world is shifting around leadership styles, and all of these people, as you think about them, I guess the message for this show is, who's at your table? Who do you want to surround yourself with that will inspire and challenge you to be a better version of yourself? And we talk a lot in leadership development about picking someone. So what would Sheryl Sandberg do? Not so much, I don't want to use the word fake it till you make it, but act as if it is so until it really is, as a way to stretch yourself and to help you shift identities, because we are so stuck to it's change is hard, right? Shifting your identity means leaving things. So looking at these role models and what the theme is around the table for those people that are part of your community might be a great homework for you for this.
Well, the next step is, let's bring it down to people that we do know in our community, and how can we play that catalyst and that connector between the worlds that we live in, and having fun. I mean, this is all about fun. When we're hosting dinners, they have to be fun, right? And one of the questions we had, these are all very outspoken people, very, I think, maybe not extroverts necessarily, but they all own their space.
They sure do.
So why did we not put, perhaps, when I think of Princess Di, my first idea was like, yes, I would love to meet her and just talk, but would she be very quiet? I mean, she's been to millions of dinners. She must be able to hold her own, but she's very quiet. Who else is very quiet? I had Deepak Chopra on my list. Who could guide us through, a blessing at the beginning and a prayer at the end. And he's a big personality too, of course.
But we eliminated Greta, right? We eliminated Greta because we thought, well, it would be too much for her, or
we decided that for her already, didn't we?
We did, didn't we? Oops.
Yeah.
But this is a nice segue into, there will be some changes on this show in January, Sylvia. What's going on?
Yes, because not everybody can download YouTube videos and listen to us. There have been thousands of requests, Jenny, for us to create a podcast. So we are going back to the beginning. We're going to be downloading all of them. Seasons 1, 2, and 3 are going to be published on the interwebs, on Apple and all of Spotify and all the places where you listen to podcasts in the new year. And then we're going to be continuing new episodes. We will keep the show here, though, because we like to see each other and go live. And then those episodes will just be put onto a podcast.
And the other thing to share with you guys, how exciting, is as we have learned during this YouTube experience, we talk about a lot of things besides money. Yeah. Money is almost like a tool or a symptom of some other things that we often talk about. And so when we went to the drawing board to say, if we were to rename the show, what would actually be closer to what we want to talk about? And we came up with a name.
With 2 words that we use very, very, very often.
Yeah. And the 2 words are, dun, 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 play big. So we are launching the Play Big podcast in January 2021, and we hope that all of you listening will be a part of this exciting, I would say, transition into 2021.
Transition. Yeah, we're playing bigger. We're going to be playing bigger. And it's funny, when you listen to our intro, Jenny, we said, we're not going to hide behind a podcast. We're going live. And we are going live. And most podcasts are pre-recorded and edited. There'll still be no editing. We want to keep this very simple. But, we were like, we're not going to hide behind this. And not that we're not hiding now. We just want more people to be able to listen to us and have a bigger impact. I think it's really having a much bigger impact. I also have news, and I'm going to say it publicly. It's going to keep me accountable in line with this, play big. As many of you know, I coach women, and to play big, to conquer their fears, to move forward in their lives and their business. And I am going to be launching a new membership where we will do
Woohoo!
this as a community online, and they are all about the 5 branches of wealth
Okay.
in your lives. And if I can say what they are, it will be about money, of course. I'm very attracted to talking about money and creating wealth, health, because without our health, we can't run our businesses and our families and be our best selves. Relationships and love. I think that is one thing everybody on this planet, men and women, are looking for. Spirituality. I have a bit of woo in me, and I like to share that. I'm going to share, some oracle cards and the whole thing. And I've got another one. I believe it the mind, and lots of different mindset. Yeah. So those are the 5 things. So come, it's going to be a lot of fun. You'll hear more about this. I'm going to put this out there. If you're interested already to put your name on the list, you just send me a message.
I'm in.
You're in.
I'm in.
Oh, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So this is our last episode for 2020. This has been the best part that's come out of a pandemic year. I have to say
It really
that.
has. Yeah. It really has. Thank you, everybody, for being part of this. This was something that we just launched on one of our many Zoom calls with our friends. If you heard the story, that's how this idea got launched.
Yeah.
We're not the only ones having these conversations about all of these important issues as we get older, right? And move forward. So,
and our goal is always to keep it real. Our goal is to seek feedback from you guys. If you have suggestions or ideas, please do post them on the YouTube channel. Send us an email at either chavender.com or sovibrant.com. Just a heads up, in January, our first one back, whatever that Thursday is going to be about, we talked about it, masculine and feminine energy and how we can leverage it for success. So, Merry Christmas. I see from Stacy on there, and happy holidays to those of you.
Yes, thank
wishing
you
all
so
the best.
much. Yes, happy holidays, everyone. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. I should have queued up a little bit of Dolly Parton here to let us out. Yeah, we should have. We didn't think that far ahead, did we?
We could sing.
Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. And we're going to leave you right there.
Ooh.
Who knew I would sing live on
Who knew?
On YouTube?
Beautiful.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.